I
Uh-huh.
kind of want to dabble into you playing Nicole, the best friend of Maddie, who has mysteriously passed away in this high school. And just to start off, for the people who may have not seen the show, what is the show a little bit about? And for those people who have, what's different about the second season?
Ooh, okay, so for those who haven't, it's a very much a murder mystery, who done it type of show. If anybody's seen kind of maybe Pretty Little Liars, I feel like it has that kind of vibe. And funnily enough, we have Oliver Goldstick as our showrunner, and he was a producer on that show too. So maybe that's why he brought that sort of flair to season one. But it's just figuring out what happened to Maddie and just how we can sort of find her and get her back. For those who have seen it and are asking like what is different about season two, I would say that season two is a lot more adventurous. It's season one, for those who have seen it, it was a lot of school scenes, a lot of with the spirits in the school type thing. This one was a lot more ghostbustery, outside of the school, the woods, the bus stops, and figuring out the clues to get to Maddie
Yes,
and
it
Janet.
Janet. Well, last season ended on such a cliffhanger. It was shocking. I was like, okay, next season needs to come out immediately. I need to know what happens. Were you just as excited as the viewers were to find out what happened next? I bet, I mean, being in the cast and being on set, you're like, well, I want to know what happens next too. What was that like for you?
I feel like we're kind of in the same boat as the audience because we don't get the scripts until like a week and a half before we shoot it. So it's not like we go into work and we know what's going to happen in episode 8. It just sort of we're learning it as we go. And yeah, no, we were super excited. Obviously, we had a little hiatus around that time. It was the writer's strike, so it went a little longer than expected. So when we got back, we were very much like jumping right into it, and it was so much fun. It was just it almost felt like a family reunion.
Well, I bet. I mean, you guys have been on this cast for multiple years now. Is that just so much fun to come back and reunite with everyone, see everyone again? And y'all are all kind of, the majority of the cast is around the same age too. So, what is that like being on set with all of these friends and peers and co-stars?
Yeah. No, it's super cool. I've mentioned it a couple times that it's kind of bittersweet because I know not every set is gonna be that close and that home-like feeling. Like it's just very much like we're all very cool with each other. And I feel like you don't usually get, not that you get enemies on a set, but you know what I mean? Like that closeness, like you actually talk outside of set, outside of when you finish shooting and you hang out and things like that. And our group is kind of like that. Like you said, we're all around pretty much the same age, and it's nice. We're able to bond a lot more than I think you probably would on an average set.
Well, and kind of on the topic of bonding, Nicole and Claire, I feel like got a lot closer this season, and it was really beautiful to watch that kind of evolve, especially in episode 4 when they were on outside and doing that exercise together, and your character specifically really got to see Claire open up more. As a viewer, I really saw you portray like the emotion, the empathy. How do you think that that relationship blossoms and is able to come together to find and solve this mystery for Maddie?
I feel like it did a big jump because we before were kind of like enemies. We didn't really find each other, or we weren't too fond of each other. And I think slowly as our characters started to find ourselves in the similar situation and kind of forced to be in the same place at the same time. And then just seeing as the relationship went, and like you said, that exercise, and like when she came to my house to ask if she can stay, and that was like a vulnerable moment. One of the first vulnerable moments, I think, with her. No, second. First one would be in the hospital when she's talking about her father and well, her parents and how they treat her. But I think it's just like you said, it kind of made Nicole like look at her in a different light. Like, wait, she's not like the typical cheerleader, mean girl, that we kind of saw in season one. There was a lot more to her, and I'm happy that this season those walls got to come down a little bit, and it's really nice. I like that relationship. She's like my best friend in season two.
One of my favorite things about the show is the suspense, right? The ticking of the music when you're watching and you're getting into some more of the meat of the plot. Just kind of everything. Did you feel that suspense even without the production value when you were on set? Did you feel that kind of suspense, even just acting out these scenes and trying to portray them the way that they were portrayed to the audience?
Oh my gosh, yes. I This is gonna come out after episode 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So the scene where everybody's gonna see, Mr. Anderson, and actually I think that might have been in seven, but like Mr. Anderson, aka Mr. Martin, and like gonna hit us with I forgot what tool he had, and he was gonna get Diego, and that was all very intense. Like obviously every time we shot it, we had to have high stakes, very huffing and puffing. We're trying to get Xavier out the boat, untied, like all these things. And every time we shot it, I felt like it was for real. Like, oh my gosh, wait. Wait, no, this is fake. This is fake. But yeah, untying the thing, running in the woods, all that. It feels very much like we were actually there.
Well, and I feel like even just seeing y'all's faces while you were like doing, especially that scene, I finished that one yesterday and I was like, whoa, what's happening? Oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And it looked like true like horror and scaredness and just fear on y'all's faces. So that was just so well. And it's good to know that you guys actually felt that when you were filming it because it was portrayed actually like that too to the audience.
Oh, good. No, I'm excited. Yeah, it's so much fun shooting this show. There were so many in this season. I love this season so much just because there were so many different elements that we didn't really get to experience in the first season or exercise that type of action running through the woods and like the whole thing of like lying to Diego when he came to the cabin when no one invited him and trying to get ourselves out of these little pickles. It was a lot more fun this season. Season one was fun, but this one was like another notch just because we got to do a lot more physical things.
Yeah, and the plot was definitely obviously different, but still had the same heart as season one. More characters, more turmoil, just kind of everything. It was kind of all going on at the same time. It was very fast paced. I loved it. How exciting was it for you to see that script? I mean, season one was so crazy, and seeing what actually happened after, what was that like for you? It was nothing like I was expecting, or other people that I've know have seen the show was expecting either.
Yeah, no, like this season we don't get to shoot the live people don't shoot with the ghosts that much. Sorry, there's motorcycles here. The audience um sorry, no, the ghosts and the alive people don't shoot that much together, besides obviously Christian, because he can see Maddie, and the few scenes that were like crossing paths, maybe. So being able to see, like, for me, was the scars, the different scars, because I wasn't actually on set to see them shoot those. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Reading it on a paper is one thing, but like seeing the way they put it together and just the lighting and the shooting and the smoke and oh my gosh, the actors are phenomenal. And it was really neat to watch those scenes that I wasn't able to watch in person. It was like seeing it for the first time, like the audiences were.
Yes, and well, and you even brought up kind of one question I also had about how Simon is able to see Maddie, but he tells you guys that he can see her for the first time, and you guys believe him and you're able to trust him. I mean, it takes some time for others. Some were easier to convince, but I mean, being able to have to, I remember that one scene where you all were kind of sitting around the table and you had to pretend like you couldn't see her, but she was sitting right there. What was that like in having to pretend that you
Oh
didn't
my
know she was there,
goodness.
but she was right there in front of you?
It's well, that one wasn't as hard only because technically she was there in person, right? Because it was Janet in her body, she had come back, all that. But it was a little a mind switch that we had to do, in the sense of like, no, it's Maddie. Obviously, it's Maddie physically, but it's not Maddie. It's Janet. So we had to act that way, like, but then also act like we don't know that it's her. It was almost, you know what I mean? Like it's like we know it's her, but we don't want to make it seem like we know it's her, but we know it's her. And it was definitely a mind trick thing. Versus, like, the scene when we're all around in the auditorium. That one was tough because we can't look them in the eye, obviously, because we can't see them, but they're actually there. So it was very much like trying to see them when they would stand up, like when Wally stood up and we were all looking at his legs instead of his face. Obviously, because we think he's sitting, and little things like that. That was a little tricky. I think you could probably catch it once or twice where we actually looked at them in the face, but we tried our hardest not to.
Yeah, and like the
And not to,
pictures on the
their lines
chairs,
are hilarious. Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
like have that little placeholder. And you're like, okay, this person's here, this person's here, trying to show the audience. But
Yeah.
you guys having to actually be talking to them, I bet that was difficult. But also, y'all portrayed it really well.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad it read.
Well, I mean, this show is taking off on social media. It did last season too, but I've seen so much on social media about this already, even before this season finale. How has it been to be able to see the support from the fans and the love? I know you weren't even going to be an actress when you were in college, so stepping into this really big hit TV show, I bet that's so surreal for you. Have you had a surreal moment? What is that like for you?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, first of all, God is good, amen, because I didn't expect to do this. I was going to be a photographer. That's what I did all throughout high school, and I had my little camera, and I went to this small community college. I was going to do some writing classes, math classes, and then I was going to transfer to an art school for photography. That was my plan. And then I just accidentally did a play, and I fell in love with it, and then yeah, everything God just sort of lined it up after that. But I would say one of the most surreal moments when I really started like, man, I think I want to do this. And I started doing background work, and I remember driving back home from those background works, 16-hour days, 14-hour days, super tired, and it was always like an hour and a half drive. And I remember thinking, wow, I'm so tired. Because I was like doing consecutive days, like let's say on a movie, but I was obviously grateful. But I remember thinking in my mind, wow, I wish in this moment, because of how tired I am, I wish I could have someone drive my car because I'm so exhausted. And I remember my first time in Canada when I booked this show, one of the days, one of the first week, we had a long day, and I remember driving back, and we actually have someone that drives us to where we're staying. And I remember having that surreal moment, like, whoa, one time I thought about this, like, oh, I wish I had someone to drive because I'm so tired right now. And I'm like, I'm tired right now, and I have someone that's bringing me to my place. And I was so grateful in that moment. So I would say, yeah, that was a nice surreal moment.
I really feel like I connect with your character a lot because she's just so kind and she wants the best for everyone, which I think is something a lot of people can relate to. How do you relate to your character and how do you love to portray Nicole?
I mean, there's a lot of things about her that I resonated with when I was in college. First of all, the photography and the artsy, like I love drawing, I loved painting, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But also, I was the same way. I had like two friends in high school that I actually talked to every day. And I was very much like, I knew of people, people knew of me, but not, I was very small circle, wanted to do photography, got into an art school, like very much very kind, always wanted to, I didn't like bullying, I didn't like seeing people get bullied, I always defended people. Like I was like, oh my gosh, Nicole's kind of like me when I was in high school. And so when I did the audition, usually when you read the script, you kind of, okay, you look at the description and you kind of make a character breakdown of how you're going to do the character. But with her, I just sort of grabbed from my experiences in high school. Obviously there's some parts of her that I wouldn't have done, like the burying of the money and blackmail, and yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But the other nice parts, yeah, I would say I resonated a lot with her. So the audition process, I just sort of grabbed from memories from my high school experience.
Now
Well,
that
and
I
I
bet
love.
that everyone's about to see the season finale, everyone's gonna be on their edge of their seats for their season three. I know I am. At the end, I was like, what? Like you can't leave me here like that. I wanted more. I want more. Can you tell us if there will be one? Is there gonna be one in the works? Do you know?
I I don't know any confirmations. I've heard there's a good chance. I don't know if I could say it, but no one told me officially. Just I heard from the grapevine, that there's a good chance, but they haven't announced it yet. But I'm hoping. I think we will. I'm hoping. I'm praying.
Fingers crossed. I'll be hoping and praying too.